Let me ask you, when you hear the word keto, do you picture a trendy snack bar or maybe a big tub of labeled keto ice cream? Here's the first big truth. Keto isn't a food, it's not a brand, and there's no magical keto meal. Keto, in its purest sense, is a metabolic state specifically. Ketosis, which simply means your body is burning fat for fuel instead of relying on carbohydrates. This brings us to two essential terms, ketosis and metabolism. Think of ketosis as your body's fat-burning mode, like switching your car from running on gasoline to running on electricity. Metabolism, that's your engine, the system that processes energy from everything you eat and drink. Now, why does this matter? Because the foundation of starting keto right is knowing your goal isn't to eat special foods, but to trigger this specific metabolic shift. If you don't grasp this, you'll be vulnerable to marketing hype. Anyone can slap keto on a label, but that doesn't mean it helps your body burn fat. You might be thinking, but what about all those keto products in stores? I get it, they're everywhere. But focusing on the state of ketosis, not the branding, keeps you grounded. Stay with me, because in a moment we'll talk about how to actually get into this fat-burning mode and why most people go wrong right from the start. Here's the real engine behind the keto diet. Keeping carbohydrates extremely low. Not just low compared to your old diet, but truly minimal. Why? Because when you eat fewer carbs, you force your body to tap into stored fat, producing ketones. These are like alternative fuel molecules generated by your liver that power your brain and muscles when carbs are scarce. Let's simplify the two technical terms here, carbohydrate and ketone. Think of carbohydrates as the quick-burn logs in your metabolic fireplace, and ketones as the slow-burning coals. When carbs run out, your body tosses fat onto the fire, and ketones are what keep the flames alive. So, what does this look like in practice? Almost everyone should aim for fewer than 20 to 30 total grams of carbs per day. That's total, not net. More on that in a second. And remember, this isn't about special oils or butter coffee, it's about keeping carbs low enough to let your body shift gears. But what about healthy whole grains or fruits, you might ask? On keto, the carb count is the law stray too high, and you're out of ketosis. If you want your body to burn its own fat, you have to create the right conditions, and that means strict carb control. Now, don't worry, I'll show you exactly how to track this without getting lost in complicated math. Now, here's a pitfall I see all the time. Confusion between total carbs and net carbs. You might have seen labels or influencers talk about net carbs, they subtract fiber and sugar alcohols, claiming you can ignore them. But science tells a different story. Let's break down the terms. Total carbohydrates are all the carbs in a food, including fiber and sugar alcohols. Net carbs are what's left after you subtract the fiber and some sweeteners. It sounds clever, right? But here's the problem. Research shows that some fibers and sugar alcohols still affect blood sugar and metabolism. Counting only net carbs can be like budgeting your money but ignoring hidden fees you'll overspend without realizing it. In my clinic, I always recommend counting total carbs. For most people, sticking to under 20 to 30 total grams per day simplifies everything and avoids metabolic surprises. But what if the label says it's okay, you might ask? Trust me, relying on net carbs can stall your fat burning before it begins. Precision here isn't about being rigid, it's about giving yourself the best shot at real results. So when in doubt, total carbs win every time. Let's talk food, because you need to enjoy what you eat, especially for long-term success. Many believe keto is a restrictive list of odd foods, but at its heart, it's about picking the proteins you love from a list of nutrient-rich options. Your two key terms here are protein and nutrient density. Protein is your building block, it helps preserve muscle and keeps you full. Nutrient density? That's how many vitamins, minerals, and other essentials are packed into your food. Think of protein-rich foods like eggs, fish, poultry, and meats as your all-star team each brings something valuable to your nutrition game. Let me tell you a story. I once had a patient who loved brisket and collard greens from a local spot. That combo became his keto staple and he thrived. You might prefer chicken or shrimp, and that's fine. The magic happens when you choose from approved proteins that you genuinely enjoy. So here's my challenge to you. Find your favorites on the protein list. The more you personalize your plate, the easier it'll be to stick with keto for the long haul. And no, you don't have to force down foods you hate, this is your journey. Now, let's clear up one of the biggest misunderstandings out there. Keto isn't about guzzling oils or chasing fat bombs. At its core, protein comes first, not fat. That's right. Despite what you've heard, you don't need to pour oil on everything or buy expensive fat supplements to get into ketosis. Here are your terms to know macronutrient and satiety. Macronutrients are the big three protein, fat, and carbohydrates that make up your diet. Satiety is the feeling of fullness that helps you avoid overeating. On keto, protein gives you satiety and supports your muscles, while fat is simply what your body burns for energy when carbs are low. Now you might be thinking, But don't I need to eat lots of fat to make ketones? Actually, your body makes its own ketones from stored fat. Overloading on dietary fat can stall weight loss because you're burning what you eat instead of what you've stored. So, prioritize protein, use fat for flavor and satisfaction, but don't overdo it. This approach helps you tap into your own body fat and keeps the process simple and sustainable. Let's get practical. Before you even start keto, take a hard look at your kitchen. If you're surrounded by carb-loaded snacks, you're setting yourself up for cravings and setbacks. Imagine trying to quit smoking while still carrying cigarettes. Temptation is always one step away. Key terms here are environmental cue and withdrawal. An environmental cue is anything around you that triggers old habits, like that box of cookies calling your name. Withdrawal describes the temporary discomfort you might feel when stopping carbs. Think of it as your body recalibrating. Here's my advice. Clean out the pantry and fridge in one fell swoop. Remove bread, pasta, chips, anything that doesn't fit your new plan. Give yourself a fair shot by removing temptation before it tests your willpower. Yes, it takes effort up front, but you'll thank yourself later when cravings hit and there's nothing to sabotage your progress. Remember, success starts with your environment. If you set yourself up right, the journey becomes much easier. Here's a modern challenge: the rise of keto junk food. Walk into any store and you'll find shelves of snacks labeled keto, from cookies to chips to candy bars. But don't be fooled, marketing doesn't guarantee metabolic results. Two terms to decode: ultra-processed food and labeling loophole. Ultra-processed foods are those made in factories, often with added sweeteners and additives that can spike cravings. Labeling loopholes let companies call almost anything keto as long as they can fudge the numbers on carbs. Now you're probably wondering, can I trust any keto-labeled foods? The answer: only if you check the total carbs and ingredients yourself. Many so-called keto snacks are surprisingly high in carbs or use sweeteners that still impact your metabolism. So my rule: be skeptical of anything labeled keto. Focus on whole, low-carb foods you recognize, and make label reading a habit. This keeps you on track and out of the trap. Let's tackle tech and testing. Do you really need to measure your ketones or download a fancy macro tracking app? Here's my answer: absolutely not. Simplicity is your friend on this journey. Let's define biofeedback and adherence. Biofeedback is listening to your body, hunger, energy, and mood rather than chasing perfect numbers. Adherence means sticking to your plan over time, which is much harder if you're juggling apps and test strips. Now you might ask, but won't testing help me? For most people, constant measuring leads to frustration and burnout. The real test is making carb control a daily habit. Apps and trackers can overcomplicate your life, turning what should be a straightforward diet into a stressful chore. So, focus on eating the right foods, keep carbs low, and trust the process. That's how you build a lifestyle, not just a temporary fix. Not all keto advice is created equal. It's easy to get lost online, following influencers who use the diet for bodybuilding, athletic performance, or even just trend chasing. But here's the truth: context matters. Let's break down two terms: intentionality and individualization. Intentionality means using keto with a clear purpose, like weight loss or reversing type 2 diabetes. Individualization means tailoring your approach to your unique body and goals. Let me ask, are you trying to lose weight, control blood sugar, or something else entirely? If your goal is fat loss or metabolic health, stick to teachers and plans that focus on those outcomes. Influencers loading up on oils and fats might be playing a different game. It's not one size fits all. So before you follow anyone's advice, check if their results match your goals. That way, you're not just following a fad, you're building a plan that truly works for you. Here's the question I get all the time: can I do keto if I eat out a lot or rely on fast food? The answer is yes, with the right strategy. Let's clarify two terms: food environment and carb avoidance. Your food environment is wherever you get your meals, restaurants, drive-thrus, or home kitchens. Carb avoidance is simply skipping bread, fries, sugary drinks, and other high-carb temptations. You might be thinking, isn't fast food unhealthy? Sure, it can be, but you can still apply keto rules. Order burgers without buns. Choose grilled chicken. Skip the fries and opt for salads or non-starchy veggies. It's about making the best choices available wherever you are. No matter where you eat, the keto principle is the same. Keep carbs super low. This flexibility makes keto sustainable, even for the busiest lifestyle. Let's bring it all together. Starting keto isn't about perfection, it's about progress. If you focus on understanding ketosis, cutting carbs, prioritizing protein, and ignoring the noise of trends and marketing, you'll find a path that works for you. Remember two final concepts: sustainability and community. Sustainability means building habits you can live with for months and years, not just a quick fix. Community is the network, friends, family, mentors who support you along the way. If you found these tips helpful, share this with a friend. This is a grassroots movement, a way to spread the truth about keto, one person at a time. You've got the basics now. Keto is a metabolic tool, not a product. Use it wisely, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go.